What if there was a show about traveling to parallel worlds, the same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions? A world where the Russians ruled America, or where your dreams of being a superstar came true, or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. We started a podcast talking about it, inviting some friends to join us. Now we hope you all come along for the ride.
Hey everybody, welcome to FANDOM Entanglement, Sliders, and today we're talking about Season 2, Episode 7, or Episode 3, depending on if you're watching in airdate order, Gillian of the Spirits. My name is Mike Bloxam, and I'm here with my co-host Damon Sugameli.
Hello everybody.
Hey Damon.
Hey.
And today we're joined by a special guest, Dave Korman. Welcome, Dave.
Hey guys, how you going? Hi Mike. Hi Damon. Good to be here. Dave from the
good
Deep Dive podcast.
Yeah. Tell us about the Korman Productions.
Well, me and Stacy, we do all sorts of things. Right now, we're doing Under the Dome and the original Quantum Leap. We're finishing. We're doing season 5 of Quantum Leap right now, and season 1 of Under the Dome. We've done all sorts of things. A lot of genre stuff, but we also do some. We venture out into like comedy. We've done a comedy. We've done a drama. So yeah, we do podcasts on a bunch of different things, and some movies here and there. So yeah, we got ourselves busy doing lots of different types of things.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember we've talked about before, and that they're like at some point you're thinking of doing Sliders, possibly.
Yeah.
At some point.
Well, we're gonna finish up Quantum Leap first, and presumably by then you'll be into season 3 of doing Sliders.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. I don't know at this case, but yeah, we would eventually like to do Sliders as well.
Yeah.
Very good.
We're glad to have you. We've been trying to kind of get you to do this since we did Quantum Leap, I think 2022, and Stacy did an episode with us.
I was supposed to do it with you guys one other time, but it ended up getting moved to a point where my life was crazy at the time. I was doing a bunch of things with my own podcast, plus a lot of I was working like 50 hours and 6 days a week, and it was too crazy at the time, but I'm glad to finally be on now with you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so what's your best Sliders whisper, Dave?
My best? Oh, okay.
Slider. Oh, wait, say it again?
Sliders. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah.
At first I didn't know what you were referencing, but then I got it.
Oh, yeah. That's the beginning, yeah. That's what I was asking everybody. It's just like I think that's the new thing we're doing. All right. Well, I guess if you want to take us into the details, Mike.
Let's go ahead. So, Gillian of the Spirits, original air date March 15th, 1996, and from the DVDs it says a lightning bolt strikes the vortex during a slide, damaging the timer and trapping Quinn on the astral plane. Now the Sliders are stranded in a world with 1950s technology, and Quinn cannot be seen by the others. He tries to get help from the only one who can see or hear him, a girl who has a history of hearing voices. We have our regular main cast, Jerry O'Connell as Quinn Mallory, Sabrina Lloyd as Wade Wells, Clavant Derricks as Rembrandt Brown, and John Rhys Davies as Maximilian Arturo. In this episode, we have an extensive guest star list again, but I'm going to go into my sort of deep dive this time. Not everybody had anything extremely notable, but our kind of main guest was Deanna Milligan, who played Gillian Mitchell. I didn't see too much about her when I was going through her background, but she looked familiar, but I don't know why.
Yeah, did you have something, Dave? Or
yeah, she was in 2 episodes of Millennium. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that series. It was a Chris Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Also an episode of The X-Files, and she was in The Outer Limits, an episode of that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Much like everyone else in this episode.
Yeah, she has like 70 different credits, but
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Perfect. Thanks. Next, we have Tom Butler, who played Michael Mallory, which, of course, we've seen once before in the pilot. His second of 2 appearances, but, I'm pretty sad they didn't have him return again after this. It would be kind of cool to work more of, Quinn's and the other Sliders' histories into the ongoing stories, but, we know what happened after season 3.
Yeah.
He also has had a recurring character in the 3 recent Sonic the Hedgehog movies. He was in 5 episodes of The Outer Limits. He had 2 appearances on The X-Files, and so he was also in Ernest Rides Again. As a kid, I loved the Ernest movies. They're still a guilty pleasure of mine. The only reason I noted it is because there's another guest star in this episode who was also in the movie, so we'll get there. Next, we have Gillian Barber as Nicole Mitchell. She had 4 appearances on Stargate SG-1, 3 of them as a character named Draylock, 3 appearances on The Outer Limits, and 4 episodes in The X-Files as 3 different characters. And those are the...
reused. Sorry.
Yeah, they reused a lot of actors for different roles. It seems like there's a very small acting pool in Vancouver in the 90s.
Yeah.
She's also in Smallville. She was in a season 3 episode titled "The Truth" as a ill-fated teacher.
Okay.
Ooh, ill-fated.
I remember her appearance on that episode. I did not make the connection between her role there and here until I actually looked at her page.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I've not watched Smallville. That's kind of on my retro watch list at some point. But
I saw the last 4 seasons of it. I watched it when they introduced Supergirl. I was like, yeah, I like her, so I'm going to start watching it. that was actually a really good show. So I'm like, oh yeah, because she was only on for a season. So, but yeah, I didn't watch the earlier seasons of it, but
yeah, I was watching pretty much from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. If you want to do Smallville after you do Sliders, Dave.
Oh, I don't know about that. It's 10 seasons. I don't know that I'm ready for that commitment.
Yeah.
Plus, I'd have to convince Stacy to do it, and I'm not sure she would. So.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so our guest stars, we had Gerard Plunkett as Father Jerry. He was in a season 1 episode, Prince of Wales, as a driver.
Okay.
I don't recall that particular character. I'm wanting to go back now and just see who he was.
Yeah.
He was also in 2 episodes of, I mentioned this show before, Travelers, as Ted Bishop. And he was also a series regular on a Canadian series called Da Vinci's Inquest. He was in 72 of the 91 episodes as Bob Kelly. I've never watched the show, but it was, apparently fairly popular back in its day. And Mr. Plunkett also had 3 appearances on The Outer Limits, 3 Stargate SG-1, and 2 X-Files. So he's got quite a few credits. And then, Damon, you've got a note here on him, too.
Yeah, and I was going to add, because I thought the name sounded familiar, so when I looked him up, I'm like, okay, this is who he was. Because I watched Fringe. He played Senator Van Horn in a few episodes of that show as well.
Oh, there you go.
Somewhat of an important character. It's really only a few episodes he was in, but a little bit of a significant role there early on in the series. So, we ever get to Fringe, he's in that as well.
It's a pretty good show.
Yeah. Oh, I love that show, and Mike has never seen it, so maybe at some point. At some point, we might. I don't know. We'll think about it.
Yeah, you the one who's doing a retro review, and for me, it'll be new.
Right. Well, at this point, right now, there's already like another Fringe podcast. I'm not going to step on their toes. They're doing their own thing. They're on break right now. They're going to be doing season 4 soon. So, anyway, off on a little tangent.
We have to finish Sliders first, Damon.
I know. All right. Well, you can continue.
Yep. And of course, we got Will.I.am Sasso as Gomez Calhoun. Will Sasso making his, I don't know how many times he plays this character, but he's back, which is always a good time.
Yeah.
Always the innkeeper. Mitchell Kosterman as Muscle Guy number 1. So he's the guy pretending to be from the Bureau who took the timer from Arturo. This actor also had 3 episodes of Stargate SG-1. He was in 14 episodes of Smallville as Ethan Miller. So another Smallville connection.
Yep.
He was in 4 episodes as 3 different characters, usually a cop in the X-Files. And this is the other character who's also in Ernest Rides Again. So I feel like I need to watch that movie sometime and pick these guys out. And the last one I had notes about was Sheila McGill, who played Mrs. Henry, the owner of the diner. She's yet another returning actor. She played Mrs. Bingham in Eggheads in season 1. And I thought she looked familiar too, so that explains it.
Well, this
Any
is
other
back when
cast
they,
comments?
I was gonna say this is back when they had some actors would they wouldn't think anything twice of having them come back just for another completely unrelated role. That's they don't really do that so much now, but.
Yeah, Will Sasso wasn't actually in as many episodes as I thought he was. He was only in like 4. And the last was like in this season. I don't think he played the character after season 2.
Yeah, he doesn't go beyond season 2. Was it 4? I feel like it's a little more than that. He was in season 1. Was that the first time? I don't remember if that was the first time. I think it was. Wasn't it, Mike? I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not really at least 2, maybe 3 in season 1, and he's been in 2 so far in season 2, I thought. So
yeah, it's only like going to be a couple more, I think, or like maybe 1 or 2 more, and I think that's it. Yeah,
I actually thought he was in more episodes, though. I remembered him being more of a presence than he turned out to be.
Yeah, he's one of the recurring characters that appeared a little bit more than we thought they did, but yeah. Well, I don't have anything else for. Do you have any other?
I have one. Nicole Parker, who plays the girl that basically harasses Gillian and steals money from her. She was actually she wasn't a big didn't have a big career or anything like that, but she was in 3 episodes of the X-Files, including the Revival series season.
Oh, okay.
And she basically played the same character in all 3 episodes as a stoner chick.
Oh. All right, that's good to know.
Yeah, cool.
All right, well.
Well, this episode was written by Tony Blake and Paul Jackson and directed by Paris Barclay. And I guess we have sort of 4 worlds visited in this one. The first one being Noah's World, or as Remy called it, Rain World, which I totally love that fourth wall statement.
Yeah.
I guess Noah's World because someone made the comment about 40 days and 40 nights of rain.
Yeah, 40 days and 40 nights of God's wrath or something. Like, yeah.
God's wrath, right. Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's probably an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have the main setting for this episode, 50s World and the Astral Plane. And then, finally, Nude World.
Yeah, we didn't spend more time there.
Very... I know.
Yeah. A very comedic way to end the episode, but you knew we weren't going to see that again.
Right.
All right. First impressions. Dave, do you want to kick us off on your first impressions of the episode?
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching the preview for this episode and being really excited. I thought the concept was really awesome, and it seemed like there might be some Wade Quinn stuff. I was a shipper of them back in the day. And yeah, so I was really excited by the concept and the whole idea of being in a civilization that was less technologically advanced was also a pretty cool idea. The execution at times is a little iffy, but all in all, it's a pretty good episode. I think it's a definitely a fun episode. And I think, I did read through your notes, and it definitely does remind me at times of Quantum Leap and Owl, the hologram. And I think Gillian at times could use some pointers from Sam Beckett on how to handle that a little bit better. I mean, Sam wasn't always great with it either, but she's really bad at it. But yeah, it's a fun, solid episode.
Yeah. I feel like this is probably one of my favorite episodes of season 2. I mean, it's not a lot of humorous moments in there necessarily, but stakes are pretty high. I mean, we're it's kind of serious, but like in a good way. Quite a few callbacks to the first season. We get the return of Quinn's dad, and there's a lot of stuff to like in this one. So I always liked it a lot in this season. So
yeah, I agree with a lot of what both you said there. It's definitely one of the best so far in season 2. And Damon, yes, not nearly the amount of levity we're used to. Except for the characters finally crack up in the epilogue when they're all reunited and laughing at the naked mailman. I thought it was interesting indeed how they made so many references back to season 1. It was really nice to see that continuity and be reminded that, the show does have some continuity to it. I would like to have known more about Gillian herself, though. She ended up kind of being more of a means to an end rather than a fleshed out character. She was just kind of the conduit for Quinn, but we didn't learn a whole lot about her background, like what were the voices she was hearing before. I'll talk about that a bit later, but there was also kind of shades of the next phase from the Next Generation, Star Trek The Next Generation. It was, they were there, but just slightly shifted out of phase so they couldn't be seen, but they could still walk on the floors and stuff, but
right.
pass through walls and whatever. So that seemed like Quinn's situation here.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of an issue with any kind of sci-fi show that kind of tackle like this concept where they should be falling through stuff and not be able to walk on things, but they somehow manage to do so.
Yeah. I do have that in the notes somewhere. I was like, there's something here I just kind of noticed at this point, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
All right. You have the alternate history, Mike. So
I wrote my own this time instead of relying on other people.
Yeah.
So after the atom bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, the world decided the technology had gone too far and slowed down the pace of advancement. So it seems it wasn't just restricted to technology, it was science that also got held back, including the discovery of a polio vaccine. So I'm guessing this means smallpox also not eradicated, lots of other vaccines not invented. So
Black Plague.
It seems as well that we're talking about from 1940 onward, but the fact that Michael Mallory keeps calling it the polio is
the polio.
Kind of like, oh wow, it's it's still around, and that's quite. You can see the characters are quite taken aback by it too. So but aside from technology advances, it seems there was little advancement in fashion and music. Everyone's still kind of looking 50s-ish. And the music that they play, what music we do here is still very rooted in the 50s. But slang seems to have kept up with words like psycho. So no, it's interesting. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's all very interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting alternate history.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to know what the alternate history is behind Nude World. I don't know where that is coming from.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty awkward.
What was that?
Seems to be pretty awkward.
Yeah. It's just another one of those things that they just kind of ended on something, and it's like they don't need an explanation. I mean, I like it, but it's like still like I wonder where that came from. So I guess if you want to start out, Mike, what we noticed.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, after they escape Noah's world and Quinn gets basically lightning struck as he's entering the vortex. I love on the other side when they can't see him. He's saying, "Hey, I'm right here." He's totally looking like Al, the hologram from Quantum Leap. He's but they totally missed an opportunity for him to say, "Oh boy," instead of "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Also, that would have been a nice nod to all the fans.
Yeah.
Basically, there's no Sam Beckett to see him. I mean, I guess Gillian fills that role, but not.
Yeah. And Arturo wondered if that if Quinn maybe got separated from the group, because he says, well, he might be somewhere in the city. It's happened before, so I think he must be referring to Summer of Love, right? Like I think that's a callback.
That was my thinking.
Yeah.
Good catch. I didn't follow that. I was wondering when it had happened before, so I'm glad you guys got it.
Yeah. And the timer, it does appear to be scorched because of the lightning strike that happened. Well, they all commented too. This, like, anybody feel that kick right before we in the vortex, and you thought like somebody was like kicking the. I don't know, who was it? Rembrandt said that. I thought somebody kicked me or something.
I think it was Arturo that said that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
No, Rembrandt says, "I thought one of you just kicked me in the butt."
Okay. Yeah. He said that line. But yeah, the professor was the one that brought it up initially, that there was some kind of like jolt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a jolt. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he is like the voice of reason. He's like, well, like they're all worried about Quinn, but it's like, this is our priority right now because we could be missing the slide, and we need to get this fixed. So it's.
I mean, Rembrandt had that as that line, like, well, what happens if we don't get the timer activated in time? And it's kind of like, come on, man, like, how long have you been doing this? You should know what that means.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist, and I would be able to tell you what that means.
Yeah. Well, they all seem like they're pretty, like they're all pretty on board with that. Like nobody's like we don't have Wade complaining this time. Like remember Mike, the past 3 episodes, it just seemed like her priorities just aren't quite there, and it's like, well, why is this company blah blah blah? But they all are kind of like, we need to figure out what's going on here. So, and this is something that it seems like more of a throwaway, but like as they're coming to town, there's that scene that shows Spartacus is being held over for the 1,872nd week, which is a total of 36 years, because the movie was released in 1960. So, man, that's a long time being in the theaters.
Yeah.
I guess it has to do with their faith, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this initial scene, I got Back to the Future vibes. Also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we needed to
hear, I think that was maybe a nod towards that as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, good point. All we needed
to hear was Mr. Sandman, give me a dream. Yeah, it did kind of feel like that.
So, not related to the time period, but is as they're walking into what looks like a small town, not really San Francisco, but is this the first time we've seen snow on sliders? Because it seemed like, to me, it stuck out that as they're walking down the street, there's snow falling. And I'm believing this could be San Francisco. Perhaps there are fewer skyscrapers because it takes longer to build them with their restrictions on technology. I don't know. I feel like there were. I don't know the history of San Francisco, so.
Wasn't there snow in the pilot?
They landed on.
Oh, I guess on the on the Arctic road,
okay. yeah.
whatever.
Does that really count though?
Now that I think about it, yeah.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There was on a glacier. Everything hell had frozen over basically.
Right. So good point, Dave. Yes. So we have seen snow before, just not in a world where people are still alive. Yeah.
Right. Normal snow. Yeah.
But also in this scene when they're trying to find a payphone and Quinn's trying to catch up to them, he's waving in front of all these strangers after he's already waved in front of his friends, but he must have deduced by now that he can't be seen. Like, he can't be seen by his friends, he can't be seen by strangers. So why does he walk out into traffic in the middle of the street, and then he gets mad at the driver and says, "Hey, what are you, blind?" when they nearly hit him. Like, maybe he's caught up in the moment, but still, people can't see you.
Something I noticed too.
Yeah, that is a little.
There go. Yeah.
I guess everybody has kind of a case of the dumbs in this episode.
Yeah.
Yes, on occasion, yes.
So actually, when they go to the cop and they start getting in trouble with the cop because of Arturo's watch, and Quinn somehow realizes the horse can see him. And that's a very owl-like moment too, where he spooks the horse and gets it to run away.
Yeah.
So that Sliders can escape. But I was actually kind of curious how he even realized that. I didn't see a moment where he noticed that the horse saw him.
It was a little subtle, but I think he kind of just saw that the horse was just kind of going like the horse was just doing. It wasn't really clear, but it was more like it just seemed like it was just he just kind of caught on that he must have seen him because of the way he was reacting. But I have that in those too. It's like, this is a predictable trope, but I think it works. You know, the whole thing with the animals seeing something who's not there. So I do think that definitely worked anyway. So
right,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they end up going to the hotel where they find Will Sasso, and Arturo's like, "Can you direct me to the computer store?" And like, I mean, at this point, I think he should have caught on to the fact that this is an anti-technology world. So he's kind of being stupid here for asking this hotel clerk where the computer store.
I think Arturo was being extremely sarcastic with Rembrandt. I don't think he actually thought there was a computer stores. I think he was just trying to prove a point to Rembrandt.
Yeah.
And then it kind of backfires on him when Gomez is like, "I don't want to lose my innkeeper license. Go to your room and leave me alone, basically."
That's the end of him being nice and helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't quite catch on to Arturo's sarcasm in that moment. I thought he was being sincere.
Well, I felt it was definitely one of those things. Like he was just like, oh yeah, like let me show you. But it did seem like he should have been a little more careful about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and Mike, you said something before. There was another sighting on something. You said.
Oh, just an editing thing, I guess. I don't want to call it that. It's not a mistake, but when the horse was rearing up, there's another sighting of the Royal Bank. There's a sign pointing behind Jesse the horse towards where the bank would be, and there's signs pointing in different directions, kind of a wayfinding post. So I'm thinking it's a real live post somewhere in Vancouver that they've filmed in front of this location. I'm really curious where it is because it's pointing towards some condo building in one direction, but kind of funny because we had a Royal Bank sighting in The Good, the Bad, and the Wealthy. So, which is a Canadian bank.
Yeah.
So back to the end and the computers.
Yeah. So I do like Rembrandt does very wisely deduce that, well, if they're arresting people for being in possession of tech, that must mean that there are, obviously there are people into it. So even Arturo's like, excellent reasons. Like, thank you, sir.
He has two in a row because he has this point, and then he has the idea to go to the church because in his logic, like the two people that you can trust is a lawyer and a priest.
Right.
So he has two very good ideas right in a row.
Yeah. the church thing kind of goes back to, you know what? That's also like kind of like a first season thing, because that was
Last
Days. Yeah,
yeah.
with Rembrandt, saying that he used to go to the church and everything, and then he, so yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, that's like another throwback there. And that's where we meet Gillian, and who can apparently see and hear Quinn, or Quinn appears as a well, not a hologram, but it's basically only she can see and hear.
Yeah.
Doesn't react really well to that at all. I mean,
right.
At this point, people think that she's crazy, and she's not helping herself at all by shouting at imaginary people that nobody else can see, and then running from something nobody can see. And there's this really weird shot where it's like somebody dropped the camera as we see Quinn and Gillian run. Like, we only barely see them run by, but we know that they are. It's just a really weird director choice where it's like, it's basically the camera's
I know what you mean.
Floor.
It's like right. Yes, yeah. That's like right before the
commercial. I'm watching a Shyamalan movie for a moment there. He has those really weird angles.
Yeah. It is a little weird of a shot. Yeah. But the priest is being treated like a rock star after the mass, and Arturo has that comment that the absolution of sins must be big business on this world. Yeah. Because I'm trying to figure out where the correlation is between, well, people thought that, as we find out about, they're against anti-tech because of the whole Hiroshima thing, but this translated into, well, people are now more into their faith, I guess. I don't know where that correlation necessarily comes from.
Maybe it's because they're also anti-science, which leads to more religious thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe another parallel with stuff going on.
I thought there was a comment earlier about they felt the technology was devil incarnate or something to that effect. So maybe the comment was later, but that might tie into the whole people are gravitating more toward religion. And you're right, Dave, away from science and technology.
Right. Yeah.
But it is kind of funny how they're all trying to get his autograph. It's
yeah.
Superstar priest.
Yeah. And again, those are we have the callbacks to season 1, because he's basically trying to he's getting Gillian to tell him to prove that he's there, and she's acknowledging that Quinn and Wade were necking in the basement, and then she's like laughing about it. She's like, see, and because Arturo is of course the skeptical one. But
and then Wade tries to talk to Quinn, and the professor is like, it's a little futile to talk to him because you can't hold this conversation. And I'm like, who is in your Wheaties? Like, I don't know. He seems a little bit, from this point on, he gets more and more irritable as the episode goes along, and it's really funny.
Yeah.
Foul mood for the rest of the episode. One thing I did really like about this episode is that, the professor and Quinn have this, have an interesting dynamic, and in that they're, teacher and pupil, almost a father-son relationship, while at the same time there's a rivalry between the two of them, because Quinn is more naturally talented, and it just comes easier to Quinn than it does to Arturo. And it's kind of fun that they actually kind of play that angle in this episode a little bit. We don't see that too often.
Well, I think that's part of the whole story arc that they're building up to this possible betrayal that Arturo is going to bring to the group. So that they've been kind of slyly hinting that they're trying to set up something here. So yeah, there is that moment later on where he's like, what is that remark supposed to mean, or something like, I'm not good enough, huh? Yeah. And then that's where they meet Michael Mallory, and he's talking about the Quinn of this world died of polio, and Arturo is like, because of an irrational fear of science, a preventable disease is allowed to run rampant. And Wade is like, they developed a vaccine ages ago, and kids, this is why vaccines work. This is why it works. All this stuff going on right now, and like our country's like,
Kind of curious
why things don't exist anymore.
Right. I'm kind of curious, how old do you think Quinn was when he died in this world? It's never really made clear. Like, how long do you think it's been?
Yeah, you're right.
I got the impression he was like
Damon.
a little, like he was probably younger, right? Like I got the impression he was like not a teenager yet. You're right. I don't think they actually established it, but I got the impression that it happened when he was very young.
But at the same time, they were talking about him having the sliding theory, because I think they had mentioned something about that, like where he's talking about other worlds and such, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought he was older. Yeah, because Michael says something about he also had theories about interdimensional travel, and something I noted was the basement has all the lightning bolts kind of painted on the walls, the floor and the ceiling, and later we see kind of the mural of the wormhole on the wall. So it seems like the Quinn of this world had some ideas about what sliding looked like. And I think that was that basement was his domain, because I feel like that was Quinn's bed still left up in the basement.
That's actually something I did not, when I was watching as a kid, I didn't notice that how the basement was, and I didn't make the connection that this was probably Quinn's lair in this universe. And the fact that brother is still hanging out in this area is pretty significant.
Yeah.
So Michael's also just gotten out of jail, it seems like, after 5 years. So did Quinn die before he went to jail or while he was in jail?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
maybe that's why he's so remorseful. Maybe it happened while he was in jail.
Maybe.
And he left Quinn on his own, because there's nothing mentioned about what happened to his mother.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what did happen to his mom? Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
But yeah, you're right. It's very that I felt that was a very poignant point they made about there being no polio vaccine, because that goes back to my question about what about smallpox, because it was eradicated in the 70s thanks to vaccinations, and then there's also measles and mumps and rubella and et cetera, like all these diseases that have been controlled because we've had widespread effective vaccinations. But some of those are much worse than polio, but yeah.
You're hearing
a lot of questions about this world.
Yeah. Right now, I know, like, I'm hearing about a resurgence of measles now because people don't want to get vaccinated. So, whatever.
So this was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Right.
This is happening a lot. This is happening a lot with sliders lately.
During the 90s, were there like anti-vax sentiments back then as well?
Probably, but I don't think it nearly as much. I don't know. It just, I'm not. I don't recall, but I'm not entirely sure. I feel like it wasn't as big of a thing as it is now, because now everybody and their mother is on the internet, and everybody thinks that they have all the answers now. So
right.
Yeah, so these are some nice quantum leap moments here with Quinn using his invisibility to Gillian's advantage.
Yeah, I love that purse peeking scene where he just sticks his head in there. It's so Al.
Right. She's got the money in there. She took it.
Yeah.
There's a genuinely funny moment there in the cab when he's driving there, and he's quoting Taxi Driver with the "Are you talking to me?"
Oh yeah. I was wondering if that was intentional or not.
Oh, it had to be intentional, just the way that was.
Yeah.
It was like it was almost verbatim. But it's such a shame that the cab driver wasn't Pavel. I don't think we'd get Pavel anymore, right?
He not the pilot.
Actually,
no, we did. I think we did, right? Didn't we? At least once.
He was in he was in like 1 or 2 episodes, I think, from the first season, and then he showed up again in the Into the Mystic.
Oh yeah, okay.
Premiere. So and then he basically disappeared. It was one of those casualties of the production where they tried to have recurring characters and they just didn't use them all the time. But it would have been nice to have him be the one that's like, "Hey, are you talking to me?"
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I had a question here, and it doesn't have to be at this point, but we have to talk about it eventually. I kind of alluded to it before, but they said Gillian had been talking to people before, hearing voices, but who was it? I really wanted this to be fleshed out and more detail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, were there more people trapped on the astral plane that she's been talking to, or is she talking to ghosts or spirits or
dead people,
other beings who dwell in this astral plane naturally? Like, more detail, please. Like I said, she was just kind of a conduit for Quinn and not really her own, fulsome guest character. And
that's a good point.
I don't know what you could have cut this episode to do that, but it was that's the part I feel is missing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of funny because Quinn says I'm on the astral plane, and everybody just kind of accepts it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't actually have any way of knowing that he's actually on the astral plane, and that something else isn't going on with him. But for the rest of the episode, everyone's like, "Yep, he's on the astral plane."
Yeah.
Scientific concept. Do you guys know anything about the astral plane?
Just from playing Dungeons and Dragons.
So that's not an actual scientific theory?
No? Darn.
And what is the opposite? Wade mentions it. The opposite, do you know what that is?
Oh, the...
No.
Oh, yeah, it's like a study of... Oh, yeah, she said something about Theosophy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that just must be the study of... I could try to look it up quick, what the heck that is.
I meant to do that, but I never actually got around to doing it.
Theosophy. Hold on, let's see here. Look it up right here. Theosophy is a philosophical and religious system that combines ancient wisdom with mystical insight. That's what AI is telling me on Google.
Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So that's more like of a religious concept, and yet Quinn is coming up with it.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to
be point.
His thing.
Well, they kind of said it was sort of like another dimension, basically. So maybe in part of that's kind of just why he's deducing that this must be where I am. It's like a place that's in between the dimensions, so to speak. Yeah, it's an interesting, like it's a valid point you bring up. Like, how did he just deduce that this has to be the astral plane when it couldn't have been something else? Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
So you kind of corrected me here, Mike. Because I'm thinking it's like, well, of course it's the Bureau of Anti-Tech, even though they're being kind of hypocrites and saying it's like, oh well, they're confiscating stuff, but it's really just an attempt to take stuff for their own and patent it, because this is something the government, of course, would do. But then you kind of corrected me, Mike, and you're saying it's not.
Well, I thought it was Bayside Power and Electric, or whatever it was called, who was doing this, not like a private enterprise looking to gain from the technology, not the police, the anti-tech police.
Yeah.
That was my gathering. Was they were only pretending to be cops and bring Michael down, and that was my interpretation.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Still, though, it's. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me because, the government's very hypocritical to say that, well, you're not allowed to do this, but then they're complete hypocrites and they're going to do the exact thing that they're telling you that they're not going to do.
I can see them doing it, but they make reference to lobbying the government to get the anti-tech stuff reformed.
Yeah.
So, and
he says something about firing all the lobbyists. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Michael Klosterman character is credited as like a bouncer or something along those lines. He's not credited as a cop. He's more of like a thug or those lines.
Yeah, Muscle Man #1 or something. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything we skipped over here that's in your notes, Dave, that you wanted to bring up, or?
Yeah, I think we already talked about it, but yeah, there's like a scene before all that happens where the professor's just getting increasingly angry. He asks for a specific tool. Wade hands it over to him all happy, like, yay, and she gets yelled at like, basically a daughter getting yelled at for bringing the wrong tool by her dad.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to work like this. Most of the rest of the episode.
Yeah. And that I think that is another funny moment when Gillian is she's there relaying all this information that Quinn is telling them and trying to say, well, we got to find a way into the station where all the tech has been confiscated. Arturo's making that really smart-ass remark. We might as well jump ahead to it. Where is it here? It's in the quotes where I wrote it down. Oh, he's like, how does he suggest we do that, huh? Transform ourselves into a crack commando unit and raid the power company? And Quinn is like, ask him if he's got a better idea. And they just cut away to the next scene.
Yeah. So apparently he did not have a better idea.
Yeah.
That's right.
Quinn is just like looking like, this a-hole, like, yeah, you come up with a better idea. This is what I came up with. Yeah.
I don't think this is the pressure power. Yeah. He doesn't do very well under this pressure.
Yeah. I did think that scene was pretty cool. The whole break-in with Arturo and Rembrandt. They're pretty cool duo, and they're doing stuff together. There's some lines later on that Arturo has that's pretty good. Anything you guys want to say about that before? Anything?
No, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. Moved the plot along and got the timer back.
Yeah.
I would say it might be a little too easy. But at the same time, that was kind of sliders. They kind of resolved the problems a little too easily sometimes. But
yeah. Well, we got 45 minutes to tell a story, so we got it. Yeah, because the next scene with Gillian and Quinn, I think, is a really great scene too.
That is a great scene.
Yeah, and this was also reminding me very much of like Quantum Leap type thing with what Quinn is telling her. That's in my lines later on too about how everybody's jealous of you and all this, and that's why they make fun of you. This is where I was thinking of this question, because I have a question about Quinn being stuck on the astral plane for such an extended period of time. Did he not need to eat or drink anything during that time?
Actually, that is something that I thought of. Perhaps like being in that state, he didn't need that, but I think it would be a concern that eventually, if he remained in this state, he would just die from starvation or dehydration.
Yeah, because I feel like they've been like this I don't know how, we don't really know how long they were here. I don't think it was days, but
no, I don't think so.
A while. They were here for a while.
Yeah.
I think it's enough time that Quinn should have started feeling like a bit dehydrated or hungry or something, because he's not able to touch anything, to eat anything. So unless there's something in the astral plane for him for nourishment, what's going to happen there? Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered the same too, of course, and I also wondered if he felt the weather or not, because he loses his rain jacket between the hotel and the church, but so did the others, switching to winter gear. But then he had I could believe he had a winter coat on under the rain slicker, sure, but then later he loses his winter coat as well. So, and like, where's he leaving these things? In the hotel room? Do they just flitter out into the astral plane? Yeah.
Somewhere.
and if he can't pick up a rock, how can he sit in a chair and talk to Gillian? I know it's television, but
that was one of my goofs that I said, how is he sitting in that chair?
Yeah,
that's exactly when I thought about it. I was like,
I mean, that's something that really bugged Stacy about the new series, is how many times Addison was seen like just sitting on stuff. It's like, no, that's not how that works. You can't do that. So
I mean, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But Al did it too. I mean, there were times that he was coming down.
He did do it a couple of times.
Hey, it's the 80s and the 90s. They're just assuming that just go with it.
Right.
But also in the scene, there's it feels very Quantum Leap as well. There's a piano instrumental going on during that scene, and the song is definitely a 50s song, but I cannot put my finger on it, and I couldn't get Soundhound to figure out what I was trying to hum at it. So Like a lot of the score in this episode felt very Quantum Leap, but if someone can identify that song for me and get that annoying niggling feeling out of my brain, I'd appreciate it.
That's the one playing during the Gillian and Quinn scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So someone figures it out. Put it in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was another song too. I thought the same thing. I think it was when we saw the gas station or something. We saw the old cars, and there was a song playing that was like, I wonder what that is. It sounded like a song from the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another little thing that's just like at some point we're hearing like, what is it, the hotel lobby, and they have the radio. The beauty pageant is being broadcast over the radio. How are you supposed to listen to a beauty pageant?
Well, that's what the announcer says. I wish you could see her, folks.
Right.
And that seems pretty pointless.
Yeah. It's meant to be funny, but still, like
yeah.
Okay. Who would I mean, would that be a real thing? I don't know.
Well, it's a live broadcast of the beauty pageant, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's when they're leaving the hotel to go go break into Michael Mallory's house. Yeah.
Right.
And they run into Gillian's mother.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, so Gillian starts like talking to her, trying to convince her to let her go with these people, and she's like, you know, a man is trapped in the astral plane, and I'm the only one who can save him. And I'm like thinking, like, she thinks you're crazy, and you're talking crazy.
Yeah.
How is this going to convince her? But she then is like, hey, if you love me, you'll give me a chance to like prove myself and prove what I can do.
Right.
That's a good angle to take. But for that, she's like, oh, man, on the astral plane, like, you're not helping your case with that. But
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But she did. She gave the pin or whatever from, you know, it's like Arturo needs something simple to fix the thing. She's like, will this do? He's like, this will do very nicely, thank you. So I guess she wants to believe that, she doesn't want to think her daughter's crazy, I guess. So maybe she's just trying to give her benefit of the doubt and say, okay, I'm going to try to believe in you. And these people seem to believe you too. So maybe deep down inside, she's thinking, like, okay, this is a possibility. Let's let it play out and let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then Arturo does fix the timer very conveniently. We got 17 seconds left. Like,
yes.
Just fixed it just in time. Really. It's a little, again, TV.
Just in time to wrap up the episode.
Yeah, just in time.
My favorite thing is, so Michael at this point comes down with a gun, threatens them, and then Arturo activates the timer, and he tells him that the portal will be open for 60 seconds. And I timed this. It went on for 2 minutes seconds from the time that he said that the portal would remain open for 60 seconds, which, again, that's a typical television problem.
Yeah.
It was fun. Like, he had time to make all these dramatic goodbyes, and, in 60 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
But when he opens the portal, he starts talking to Michael. He says, help me out here. Arturo is suddenly inviting new sliders to join them after multiple times when he's expressed his concerns about bringing extra people with them and the collapse and the splattering of your molecules across infinite realities.
Like a fine jam, right?
Well, I mean,
yes.
So they ran a van straight to the vortex with a bunch of people in it. So they kind of contradicted themselves left, right, and center on that issue. But
he's been very adamant about it. He's been the one voice that's like, we can't do this, and now it's like, you're right. He's just suggesting it. I guess because he sees that he's like this scientist who is like, he's this man of science who clearly has bigger ideas. It's like, well, let's bring him along. But I was thinking the same thing too. It's like, come with them. Like on Earth Prime, he's dead. So
yeah.
I think they actually had wanted to do more. I think Tracy Torme had wanted to do more with Michael Mallory's character, apparently. But they never got to do any of that. But
it's a shame that we didn't actually see him again after this episode.
Yeah,
Butler is
really is
a good actor, and
well, we
would have been great to see his character more.
Yeah, well, we do see the character again. It's just not Tom Butler
not
playing
Tom
the role.
Butler.
Yeah. I still like him the best. I think when we see him, it's supposed to still be the same Michael Mallory. It's just a different actor playing it a few more times. So, but yeah, I liked him as Quinn's dad. Yeah. Do you want to add on to that, Mike, about the vortex?
Well, I want to do a fulsome breakdown here, just because I'm nerding out on this, but I timed it out on my second watch of the episode. So from the time he says 17 seconds, it takes him 27 seconds to activate the vortex. So we're already halfway to, we're already 10 seconds over. Then it's 57 seconds before he says 45 seconds to closure. And then it doesn't close until a full 2 minutes and 46 seconds. So TV seconds apparently are a lot longer than real life seconds, but like I get it, it's television, but they could have maybe just been bit more open with it and said it remains open for a couple minutes and not worried about being precisely 60 seconds.
They can make up any number they want. They didn't have to say 60 seconds.
Yes, that
because I don't think
he didn't
they
need to say any time at all. He's it'll stay open for a little while and then it'll go away. Just like not mention a time at all.
Yeah, I don't think that would have helped in the past before, right? Like I don't think they actually said how long it would stay open, or unless we missed something.
This is the first time we've heard it mentioned how long it stays open. Yeah. It seems quite arbitrary, and I kind of like the idea that it would be flexible depending on how long their current slide has been. Where the next slide takes. So I think it should be flexible, but anyway, and that just a final little. Go ahead, Dave.
It definitely has very convenient dramatic timing in this episode. I think it might have been set for that, for maximum drama.
Yeah.
Right. And then after it closes, it's 24 seconds for the red vortex to open. So I don't know if that's means anything, but speaking of the red vortex, I could accept some kind of parallel wormhole opening as a result of Quinn's displacement, but I want to know how it dumped him back into what we'll call the material plane when they land on Nudist World.
Exactly. Like, why didn't it just continue to just send him to the astral plane? Like, it could have sent him to that Earth on the astral plane. I'm not. They don't really make it clear how any of that works. And...
No.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. I mean, I'm getting the impression that it was supposed to be, because he said this. It's the same vortex. It's just now passing through the astral plane. So whatever the wormhole was, where it was taking them, is now passing through there, or allowing Quinn to go. But how is it that he's still not appearing on the astral plane? How is it that it's just merging him back in with them? So. That's a good point.
That's not answered, and that bothered me. But someone waved their magic TV.
Wrap up the episode.
That's right.
All right. So, anything else? Did we miss anything? You want to add to that, Dave? Or
no, I think we covered it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that was, like I said, that was my main goof. Was just how was he able to sit in the chair? Talking with Gillian, that was it was really my main goof. That I'm like, that just didn't seem, that fits. All right, so I guess like the memorable lines. Do you have any lines that really stuck out to you, Dave? Or
probably the when Arturo gets back to the hotel, and Wade realizes they have to go back to Michael's, and he's like. And Arturo is very smug and like, only if you wish to slide again.
Oh, right. Only if you wish to slide,
It's not the line itself, but just how John Rhys Davies delivers it.
Right, yeah. I do like it kind of just going in order. It's, when he's laughing and Rembrandt's like, what's so funny? And Arturo's like, oh, life, Mr. Brown. Here we are. Stuck in a world that's in the technological Stone Age with a timer that's broken that comes from the Space Age.
That was good.
That
was good.
Yeah. Now, we mentioned it before about what does Quinn think that we should do? Transform ourselves? And Quinn's like, well, ask him, he's got a better idea. That was a good line. When they're actually when they're trying to break in, and Arturo says, "I love a well-made barrel lock, Mr. Brown. All the sensitive tumblers awaiting the intimate caress of a precision-made key. You can pick it. You can fix that thing up just in a manner of speaking."
Yeah.
And then and this is part of what I said before, when he's talking with Gillian and he's saying, "Gillian, those people, they only do that because they're just afraid of what they don't understand." She's like, "Well, I know, but it still hurts." That's just you feel it in there when she said that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then when he's looking for like something simple like a paperclip or bobby pin, and Arturo says, "That'd be ironic, wouldn't it? For want of a shoe, the war was lost." I love the little just the things that he comes up with is just.
You know who said that?
Who said?
You know where that quote comes from?
No.
By chance?
No. I thought you were going to tell us.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I meant to look up, but never really got around to it.
Yeah. I mean, the things he comes up with and just the way John Rhys Davies says them are just like, I love it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one line I added to that was Mike Mallory says, "Technology is only as dangerous as those who control it," which is so true today in this incredible rise of AI. And it also foreshadows within the episode his betrayal of helping out these people to hoard technology until it's allowed again.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so Mike, you want to? Should we try to catch up on some feedback here? I
let's do it.
Up to date where we are, even though we're still behind. As of the recording as of our recording of this is what we have. Sort of a roundup of our feedback comments.
So from Into the Mystic, we had Thomas, Sliders fan blog, say 9-year-olds didn't understand the Wizard of Oz comparison. Your new theme intro is great. Yes, it is. Well done, David.
Thanks.
And our new friend Will, Mr. Pleasant TV, says, "Yes, welcome back. At my then age, I was confused with the episode. What did this have to do with parallel worlds? Unfortunately, it was a sign of what was to come in the show. Love the review." Lewis Jones 2620 says, "Awesome review. Also didn't realize how many similarities to the Wizard of Oz there are. Laugh, cry, face. Solid episode, and the ending always gets me." Yeah, that one does have a good ending. Yeah.
Yep. And we got a new
player
subscriber. I think this is like somebody new now.
Okay, I haven't seen this name before.
Yeah. This is like
player 456 London says, "The ending was kind of sad. The Mystic Quinn took them home, and just because the gate didn't squeak, they didn't realize." Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they also commented on Luck of the Draw.
I guess they also commented on Luck of the Draw and said, "Great episode and great review." Okay. Well, thank you, player London.
Yeah. And then...
do you want to do the rest, Damon?
Yeah. And then for Time Again in World, we got Thomas again, Sliders fan blog, who said, "The vortex CGI was impressive at the end. It's part of the theme, too. Overall, I think this episode is just telling us the government shouldn't step all over our rights." Which is, I think so. I agree with that. And this is somebody on Reddit. I don't know how to pronounce this. Me, Jersit. I have no idea. I'm probably mastering that. This is a Reddit user because I share our reviews there too. And they said this was Michael Hurley's last appearance. His actor was busy encoding chevrons by the time season 3 was produced. I guess they're talking about the actor. I have no idea what that means. And then for El Cid, Will had thanked us. He said, "I appreciate the opportunity so much. Thank you again," because he hosted that with us. So, yes, thank you for joining us on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Reddit user NaughtyMo83 called it El Negan. And this is another new subscriber commenter, Shane Merchant 5013 who says, "It's odd, but this is not an episode that sticks into my memory. I watched seasons 1, 2, and 3 many times as I was a huge fan, but this episode was just not a standout for me." And then the other comment that they had was also, "I feel you, Damon. I've never given The Walking Dead a go, even though I've loved lots of zombie movies. I definitely have less tolerance for gore as I age, especially now that I have children." Because I made the comment that I can't watch The Walking Dead because of all the gore.
Yeah.
It's something happening. And then player.
Yeah, I've actually never seen this show either.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And then player 456 London said the acting was basically the same as the Negan character from The Walking Dead. So,
yeah. I think that's what I said too.
yeah. All right, that's what we got now for all of the comments. So we'll round up more later on. Yeah. All right. So our final thoughts. I have to think about what my silly objects are, but do you want to go first, Dave? You know what we're doing with silly objects out of 10? You know what we're doing with that, or?
No, actually, I don't.
Something from the episode that you can think of, and just like out of 10.
I got the idea. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So final thoughts.
Let's say 7 astral planes out of 10.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And any like actual like final thoughts about it, or just?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a good episode. There's definitely some typical 90s, sci-fi television cheesiness, but I mean that's kind of part of the appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Doing rewatches of Sliders is the 90s cheese. It's definitely it definitely has been surpassed, like in current television, but it's it's a product of its time, and I think it's a fun watch.
Yeah.
There's definitely some 90s cheese, some goofiness, and some weird concepts, and yeah.
All right, Mike, you wanna go next?
Yeah, I gave this one 8 photovoltaic cells out of 10. It was on the higher, like I said, on the higher end of season 2 so far, and kind of on par with some of the better episodes of season 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And and I probably have I this was like one of my favorites, so I'm giving it a pretty high rating. But yeah, I thought this was really just a really good episode of Sliders. And as I said before, even though there wasn't a lot of humor to it, the idea behind this was really good. It was a really good character, a really good look into the characters, and like even though it was stretched out at the end between Quinn and Wade, it was still like a really great moment, and really seeing their relationship there, and even Arturo says at the end, it's like, "I will find a way. I will find you, and I will track you down, and I will get you out of here, my boy. Like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done." It was really some powerful stuff there. So I'm giving it 9 bobby pins out of 10. Right, that's what she had. It was a bobby pin, right, in her hair.
Something like that,
but
yeah.
That's okay.
Something. Yeah.
It was a brooch pin.
Oh, okay. 9 brooch pins out of 10. There we go.
I wasn't gonna correct you, Damon, but you asked.
Okay, well, I wanted to make sure I got it right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. So, thank you, Dave, for being with us. Would you like to remind everybody where we can find you on the internet?
You can find me on Korman Productions on YouTube.
Okay.
Perfect. We'll put a link in our description.
Yeah. If you want to come back for, I know you kind of said like another one you might want to do in season 3, and
The Guardian.
Yeah. So
that's probably one of my favorites in season 3.
I think it's most people. I think it's a lot of people's favorites is that episode. So I'll see what we're doing with that, and maybe I'm not gonna make any promises yet, but you're already there on the list. So
Gotcha.
Let's see what's happening. But yeah, definitely come back. It's been fun.
We'll do.
Yeah. Scheduling permitting, because I know this was kind of tricky getting you on. With the timing and everything.
Yeah, kind of living in 2 time schedules.
Yeah.
Well, you're more of a night owl. I'm kind of like an old man.
Yeah. This is literally our only free time is after our kids go to bed and it's late and it's like we're so tired. Yeah, we're trying. Well, anyway, thank you again, Dave. You want to take us out with everything, or should I do it because you did it the last time?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I could say it. So next up in production order is Obsession. We will be joined once again by Lisa Hollifield. She is coming back for that one. With all of that being said, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. You can share your opinions on the episode in the comments down below. We will try our best to do our roundup of comments in future videos, depending on where I am with editing them, because as of the recording of this, I'm still behind, but we're trying to catch up. So, and you can visit our website at www.fandomentanglement.com. You can reach us by email, fandom.entanglement@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group. You can contact us there, facebook.com/fandomentanglement. You can join in the discussion there. I've also been sharing stuff in that group too. Anything you want to share, I've been sharing stuff for the Korman Productions. Like all of
yes, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah. So that's also.
I've shouted you out on my podcast for doing that a couple of times.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's kind of like our hub for just sharing all the other fandoms that are out there. And we're also on the Blue Sky at fandomentanglement.csky.social. So I believe that's it. So until next time, I'm Damon.
And I'm Mike.
And I'm Dave.
Yeah. And we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Keep on sliding.
Keep on sliding.